Productions.
Oh dear, I have totally screwed up the timing. With 60 seconds ago, let me just tell you, 60 seconds, 60, 50, 70 seconds ago, whatever it is, let me just briefly tell you that the possible campaign that's running in parallel with this has just clicked over target 1, so that's fabulous. There will be 5 special guest episodes of the 9 p.m. Edict podcast through March and April. They're the 2 months that I'm talking about. So that's going to be fabulous. I will tell you more about that once the actual program itself starts. Shall I keep crapping on for 42 seconds? I think that would be absolutely terrible, except Dana Sibera has just, put the kettle on thinking there's another 30 seconds left. And she's going to be annoyed if I go early. And it's only 23, 22 more seconds. So that's fabulous. I always start in a fairly ragged thing, and yes, that is probably one of the worst photographs of myself that I could find, except Apostrophe Pong found that, and I just couldn't be bothered choosing another one. There'll be a different one each episode.
The following episode of the 8 p.m. quiz may contain strong language, adult themes, and very bad jokes. Please approach it with care.
Yes, please approach it with care. Hello, welcome to Series 2 of the 8 p.m. quiz, specifically Series 2, Episode 1, S02 E01, as they say in the things. I'm still Garian. I'm glad you could join us, and I'm glad all of the other people could join us as well. I don't know how many of you there are because for some reason it's not telling me, but I'll assume for them. Oh, I know where it tells me. 21 of you so far, which is wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Let me tell you the things that I need to tell you at the very start of the program. First of all, I hope you've poured yourself a drink. I just have a soft drink tonight. I was feeling a little unwell earlier. I am here with the bad lighting in front of the shitty curtains of mystery. I really wonder what they were before curtains. I think they might have been originally curtains, but there's a story behind these curtains. I'm sure of it. There you go. Hello to the man in black. Hello Oberon's ghost. Hello Ross Nye. Hello Ms. Cat. Hello David Heath. Hello everyone there. I won't scroll back because I'll probably break something. But thank you for joining us. I think we've got a goodly number there, but just to give it a couple of more minutes for people to settle in. This is, as I say, Series 2, and we're going to do it on the 3rd Thursday of each month through to June. So tonight's the 18th of February. The next one will be the 18th of March, also a Thursday, and then you can work that out for yourself. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The bell thing that everyone keeps, telling you about, so that you don't miss out on any of them, I should say, because if I get the energy and the time, I will slide a few more in. There'll be a few more episodes, as well as just the 3rd Thursday, maybe on special occasions. I don't know. We'll see how we go. All right, you've poured yourself a drink. I think we're up to that. Hi, Brent and Ralph. Thank you for your contribution. We'll have the thank yous at half time. Now, I think we should get things underway, don't you? It's 4 minutes past the hour my end, probably 5 minutes past the hour by the time you hear me saying this through your devices of choice. What's going to happen? Well, it's a quiz. I will read out 40 questions. You will write down the answers. I must stress, do not put the answers in the chat, okay? That will lead to just confusion. I mean, if it's funny and wrong and seriously wrong, that's fine. But yeah, don't put the answers in the chat. Don't cheat. I know you're on the internet, but don't cheat. If you cheat, you're only cheating yourselves, right? What else do I have to tell you? Yes. It's in 2 parts, cunningly called Part 1 and Part 2. So I'll do 20 questions and then we'll mark them, or as the Americans would say, grade your answers. And we'll have a bit of a see how you're going. And then we'll do Part 2. And obviously, the halftime break will give you a chance to refresh your drinks. But I mean, you're probably at home. You can wander off and refresh your drinks as you see fit. I won't see you. I won't judge you. We'll just go into it. Hi, Pete Lawler. Did I say hi to you before? Me and Mine. Excellent T-shirt. But has anyone checked up on Central Station lately? It's still there. I saw it, Monday. I saw it when I was down in Sydney. If you have a team, put your team name in the chat so others can see it, and we'll get used to the regulars. And later up, look, I'll mention this now, but I want to start putting together a little community of people who do this. I don't know where I'll do that, but so you can just register your interest. Give me an email with your team name, and then I'll add you to I don't know, a mailing list or Discord for something. You probably have my email address, but it's meant to be on screen now. Why isn't it on screen now? Comes on screen if you press the right button, folks. There it is. Long there. Drop us a quick email. Hi Pong, good to see you. Look, we'll build up a little bit of a community around this, like Nick's Pub Quiz does in the UK, except he has better lighting and a better set. Well, he's got a better chair, and so on. So, yes, and the 9 p.m. Autumn Series Possible campaign, it did click over its target 1. We've got until 9 p.m, so 50-ish minutes before that closes. There is a target 2. You can see that over at, I haven't put the, you know how to find all this stuff, the 9pmedict.com/autumn2021. Basically keep putting money into it, because the more money, the more podcasts. And even if we don't get to target 2, I'll just proportionally add episodes. Spider-Man all the way down, apparently. What is Pete Lawler's laughing at the idea of using Discord. Yes, I don't know. If you're not fucking careful, I'll do a Slack channel. That'll teach you bastards. Anyway, that's enough of my email address on the screen. Let's get into the questions. Remember, you're writing the questions down somehow on paper, on a screen of some sort, and we'll mark them later. Please don't cheat. Okay, eyes down, pens or typing fingers ready. Here we go. Part 1. Round 1 is the new news round. Okay? And question 1, it's a 2-parter for 2 points. Let's start with something simple that's been in the news. Who is Australia's Treasurer? What is the name of Australia's Treasurer? And who is Australia's Minister for Communications? So you're writing 2 names down. The name of Australia's Treasurer, very exciting man, and the name of Australia's Minister for Communications, an even more exciting man. Okay. I think you should be able to get that one pretty quickly, at least if you're an Australian and at least if you've been watching the news. Question 2. Tomorrow morning Australian time, NASA is landing a new rover on Mars, a new spacecraft. What is the spacecraft's name? And for a bonus point, it's carrying a little helicopter. What is the helicopter's name? Yes, that's right. NASA is trying to fly a little helicopter on Mars. So the spacecraft will come in. There's a sky crane-ish bit, which will zoom in, and then it'll drop off the rover, and then the rover contains a little helicopter. So we want the name of the spacecraft and the name of the helicopter. Point each for them. Hi everyone with your team names. Team Plinkies for Chrissy M, of course. That's a nostalgic reference there. Ross Nye's team is my brother and his partner haven't turned up. Well, aren't they cunts? Get a better brother Ross. Better brother Ross. Question 3 is a picture question. Let's have a look at the picture. 3 people in the news this week. Who are these people? I want their names. 1 point each. Now, one of them, I reckon, is extremely easy. Yeah. Another one, you may well get because they've been in the news this week too, and they've been in the news a lot over, well, a couple of decades or more now. And the third one, if you've been paying attention to the news, you'll know who that third one is. So who are these three people? 1 point each. And I'll leave that on the screen so you can have a bit of a think as I go on to question 4. A woman by the name of Patricia Bergen, SC, that's senior counsel. She's a former judge of the Supreme Court of New South Wales. She wrote a book recently. She has indeed released a book. What's the book about? Yes, Patricia Bergen, former Supreme Court judge here in New South Wales. What's her book about? That's enough of those three people there. You love looking at me, don't you? And question 5. There's been snow in Athens. There's been incredibly cold, freezing temperatures down through the United States, even down to Texas. Lots of snow. All that cold weather in the Northern Hemisphere is caused by changes to the polar what? A thing called the polar something. It has, been acting up a bit. What's the what? What's the polar what that's been acting up each week? That is question 5, and that is the end of the new news round. Okay? I'm just going to see how that possible's going, by the way. You can talk amongst yourselves for a second. Why is that? No, I can't because no, that's this is very good television, isn't it? No. I'll do that properly at halftime when there's a video for you to watch while I'm doing that. Question 6. Okay, round 2 is the questions, 3 questions on a subject of my choice. And the questions this time are about helicopters. Okay, 3 questions about helicopters. Question 6, who flew the first solo helicopter flight across the Atlantic Ocean? They also flew the first solo circumnavigation of the world in a helicopter. And they took the first helicopter to the North Pole. Same person did all these things. Who was it? I'll give you a hint and say it's a very Australian question. That'll get you. Question 7. No, that's all right. I thought I'd fucked it up. No. Question 7. Who designed this helicopter? Now, there's a helicopter. Who designed it? Wasn't me. And question 8. In what decade was the first operational helicopter first flown? Now, by that I mean like a helicopter that could actually do something useful. So the one you saw just before, that's a drawing, doesn't count. There were obviously early experimental helicopters. They don't count. In what decade was the first helicopter that you could actually do something with? Like something practical. What decade? And I'll give you a clue. It was before the 1970s and after the 1790s. And that should narrow it down a bit, right? Okay, question 8. What decade was the first operational helicopter? Round 3 is the media round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions in the media round. Question 9. Agatha Christie's book, The Murder on the Orient Express, which has also been made into a couple of films over the years. Which detective is the detective in Murder on the Orient Express? Obviously, Agatha Christie wrote it. It's one of the most famous detective characters there is. Who was the detective on Murder on the Orient Express? Pete Lawler wants me to say Solo again. Solo. I could say it. Solo. Solo. Pathetic, really. Question 10. Name the members of the British comedy troupe Monty Python's Flying Circus. 1 point for each correct name. Name the members of the British comedy troupe Monty Python's Flying Circus. Now, I'm just going to check on the possible over here. Look, a bunch of stuff has come in and more pledges. That is fabulous. Over here on this other screen, I do have a better way of looking at it. Wow, $3,300. That's fabulous. That's $400 over target 1. Target 2 is $4,700. So can another $1,400 come in the next, what's that? Bit under 45 minutes. Call it 40 minutes. It's 42 minutes or something. But if people go over there, they've got to faff about into their details and so on. Well, that's lovely. I think it might get up. I mean, certainly as it is, that might bring it up from 5 podcasts to 6. And as you may have seen, there's some good guests. Okay, question 10. Name all the members of Monty Python's Flying Circus. I did faff about to give you a little bit of time there to do that. Sit up straight, then you can read the T-shirt, although I think you all know what the T-shirt says. Question 11 is a song lyrics question. I will read the lyrics to a song, and you'll get a point for the title of the song, a point for the performer or performers. Here are the lyrics. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Grew up in a small town, and when the rain would fall down, I'd just stare out my window, dreaming of what could be. And if I'd end up happy, I would pray. I'll just read that last part again. You got the da-da bit. Grew up in a small town, and when the rain would fall down, I'd just stare out my window, dreaming of what could be. And if I'd end up happy, I would pray. 2004. Point for the title of the song, point for the performer/performers. Definitely not Kylie, Pete Lawler. Question 12. Which actor has starred in all these films? And by actor of whatever gender. So no clue in the word actor, but all of these films they've been in. Artemis Fowl, Bugs with an exclamation mark, so Bugs. Cats, which doesn't have an exclamation mark, perhaps should have. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I'll say that again, but correctly. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Tea with Mussolini. And Murder on the Orient Express, the 2017 version. So which actor has been in all of these films? Artemis Fowl, Bugs, Cats, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Tea with Mussolini, and Murder on the Orient Express 2017. That was question 12. Question 13 is a picture question. Here are 3 people. Who are they? Point each. Not really clues in that text at the bottom, they're the photo credits. I took a bit of time this week to actually use photographs that I have a right to use, which is good. Pete Lawler says he's missed a question. Tell me which question it was. Don't just say you've missed a question. Just say you've missed question number blah, and then I can come back and tell you. So anyway, 3 people on screen. No, Dana Sivera, 2004 was not in the 1980s. Even I know that at this hour of the night. Question 13, yes, who are these 3 people? One's easy, one's hard, and one would be easy if it were an older photograph. Well, easy-ish. That's my view. Okay. Oh, look, I've left the yellow line on screen. Oops. The yellow line on screen, which is the thing I use for lining up. Pete Lawler, you've lost it. Bad luck. Points off for you, you ditzy thing. Okay, you've either figured out who those 3 people are or you haven't. Take that off screen. I think you've had enough. That's the media round. Oh, that was quick. Round 4 is old news as opposed to round 1, which is new news. 5 questions, old news. Question 14. Where was the Prophet Muhammad born? I want the city, town or village name. Where was the Prophet Muhammad born? For obvious reasons, I will not be showing you a photograph of the Prophet Muhammad. Come on. You should know this. Question 15. Which came first, the Sydney Harbour Bridge or San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge? 2 very famous bridges there. Which one came first? And the dates we will use are the dates they were officially opened. So there were obviously an official opening ceremony for these 2 bridges. Which came first, the Sydney Harbour Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge? Not long apart. I mean, not obscenely long apart. Obscenely long apart. Napoleon's cousin. That was 15. Question 16, a bit of local old news. So the northern part of Papua New Guinea, right? Papua New Guinea is Papua and New Guinea, hence Papua New Guinea, right? What's now Papua New Guinea was once a British colony, but the northern part of Papua New Guinea was once a colony of which European nation before that? So the southern part was British colony. Later it all became an Australian colony. But the northern part of what is now Papua New Guinea, what country was its colonial master originally? Oh, well, the European one before the British. The history may, everyone's ghost just pointed out Napoleon's other cousin, far apart. Yeah. It's going to be one of those nights, people. Question 16, colonial master of the northern part of Papua New Guinea. Question 17, where was the Titanic built? The ship, RMS Titanic, sank. Leonardo DiCaprio was drowned. If only. Where was it built? Don't just say in a shipyard, because obviously, but where was it built? And a bonus point, what year was the Titanic launched? Oh, there we are, a date. So where was it built and when was it launched? There's some excellent potential answers in the chat, many of which are wrong. Hi, Alex Kidman. Good to see you. You're wrong. 17 is the Titanic. Question 18. Oh, another picture question. I like picture questions. Who are these 3 people? This is all old news. I reckon, again, going from left to right, they are in increasing order of difficulty. I mean, the one on the right, I mean, if you don't know, when I tell you, you will groan and realised you should have known. Yeah? Now, I'll leave that up for a little moment because the next question has a picture in it as well. I'm really happy with the continuing pledges coming in. I don't know whether someone is plugging it on the Twitters or not. 3,500 now, that is fabulous. So that's definitely 6 episodes. I can't remember what numbers I put on that, but that's 64 episodes, 34 minutes left for that. If you're on the Twitters, you can plug that. I mean, if you want, you don't have to. David Heath thinks he's fucked up the question numbering as well. Look, it doesn't matter if you fuck the numbers up. You know the answers. That is the Queen Mother in the middle, damn it. You missed that. There we go. Okay, that was question 18. Question 19. What is this? I mean, I'll give you a clue. 19 is the critter question. I am going to persist with calling it the critter question, even though that is really stupid and difficult to say, because I'm stubborn. So what is that? Just grabbing a bit of drink there in case you're wondering what the slurpy noises are, but, you know, you're growing up people, and I think you could probably work that out for yourself. So what is that? And question 20, as usual, is a who am I question. Not who I am, you know who I am, but who am I, said in the voice of the facts I'm about to read. Okay? Who is this? I was born in April 1924. I was a member of the Girl Guides and later worked as a driver and mechanic. I ended up marrying a sailor. When my father died, I took over the family business. I was very young at the time, and since then I've had 4 children and I've travelled widely. So who is this person? Born in April 1924, a member of the Girl Guides and later worked as a driver and mechanic. I ended up marrying a sailor. When my father died, I took over the family business. I was very young. And since then, I've had 4 children and have travelled widely. Who's that? And that, dear viewer, is the end of part 1. That was question 20. So, let's go back and mark them, or grade them, as an American would say. Ready to rock and roll? Okay, question 1. Who is Australia's Treasurer for 1 point? Josh Frydenberg. And for the other point, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, who's in fact Minister for Communications, Urban Infrastructure, Cities and the Arts. 2 of the most tedious people to listen to in Australian politics, Josh Frydenberg and Paul Fletcher, 1 point each. Question 2, NASA's new spacecraft landing on Mars. It is called Perseverance. Perseverance. And it's carrying a helicopter. The name of the helicopter is Ingenuity. Ingenious, eh? Ingenuity. So 1 point to each, Perseverance and Ingenuity. Apparently Ingenuity, the little helicopter, is the size of a chihuahua. That's apparently NASA's new standard unit of measurement, the chihuahua. I'm not sure how many London buses that is. Okay, the picture question. Question 3. 1 point each for these. On the left, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the US House of Representatives, for a point. In the middle, Aung San Suu Kyi, the former State Councillor of Myanmar. There was a coup there in case you didn't notice. That's why she's in the news. So point for that. And on the right, the easy one, that is Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of the Facebook. 1 point each, Nancy Pelosi, Aung San Suu Kyi and Mark Zuckerberg. Question 4. Patricia Bergen, former judge in New South Wales, wrote a book. What's it about? It's about Crown Resorts, and the book is titled Inquiry under Section 143 of the Casino Control Act 1992, New South Wales. So that is the report which said that Crown Resorts is not a fit and proper person to run the casino at Barangaroo. That is, of course, James Packer's company. I will accept for the point anything which basically, indicates to you that you got it. I'll accept Crown Resorts, Crown Casino, James Packer, those sorts of things. How many points for question 3? Asked Pete Law. 1 for each person. I don't know how many chihuahuas you could fit in a swimming pool. Oh, anyway, look, here's a picture of that exciting book. Here is Patricia Bergen's book. 800 pages, or nearly 800 pages, 700 and something. Pete Lawler's having a lot of trouble with this today. I don't know what's wrong. Question 5. It's the polar vortex. No points if you said polar bear running amok. The polar vortex, question 5. Okay, question 6. Who flew the first solo flight by helicopter across the Atlantic, the first solo flight around the world in a helicopter, and the first helicopter to the North Pole? The answer is Dick Smith. Who founded Dick Smith Electronics and made his own breakaway Vegemite and all sorts of things. Dick Smith did all those things. He also did the first flight in a helicopter around the world, landing at both the North and South Poles along the way, which kind of is a long way to do it, and the first non-stop balloon crossing of the Australian continent. I was going to tell you the years in which all those things happened, but I can't be bothered. 1 point for Dick Smith. Question 7. Who designed this helicopter? It is, of course, Leonardo da Vinci. That is an easy one. Here the hint really helped with the Dick Smith answer. Yeah. For Australians anyway. Question 8. In what decade did the first practical helicopter first fly? The answer is the 1930s. And in fact, the helicopter was this one, or one very like it, which is the Focke-Wulf FW-61, which first flew in 1936. There were a number of photos with different registration letters on it. D for Deutschland, Germany, of course. You can tell it's during the Nazi era, so after 1933, I suppose. But there were several I found. So 1 point for the 1930s is what we were after there. How many people got that Nazi helicopter right, I wonder? Round 3, media. Agatha Christie's detective Hercule Poirot was the detective on Murder on the Orient Express. Hercule Poirot. Dana got it right. Oh, yeah, last week. I know, it's easy enough to read things and then think you got it right. Name the members of Monty Python's Flying Circus. There are 6 of them. You will get 1 point for each of them, okay? John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, Michael Palin, and Graham Chapman. They were in the order of... I thought they were in the alphabetical order of their surname. It's not. I don't know what order that is meant to be in then. Okay, I'll run through them again, a point each. John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, Michael Palin, and Graham Chapman. 1 point each. I will trust you to mark yourselves appropriately if you got a near miss. I reckon it's a half a point for a near miss, as long as, it really is a near miss, like you had Gary Chapman instead of Graham Chapman or something like that. Pete Lawler says, Carol Cleveland for an extra point. You sexist, come on. Carol Cleveland did indeed appear as an actor in many Monty Python productions, but she is not in the canonical list of members. I'm sorry. I mean, yes, it's all terribly sexist at that time. It's got a little bit better these days, but yeah, not back then. Question 11, song lyrics. I will not read them again, but the song is Breakaway for a point, by Kelly Clarkson, the other point. Someone's asking to point for 11, do you get a point for saying Stilgherrian as the performer? No, because I did not sing that song in 2004. Nice try. Question 12, which actor was in all those movies? Dame Judi Dench is the answer we were looking for. If you haven't seen Cats, I mean, don't go and see it. It's horrible. But, okay, a point for question 12 for Dame Judi Dench. Question 13, here we go, the three people, 1 point for each name. Kate Blanchett on the left, point for Kate Blanchett. In the middle, that is Brian Eno, the keyboard player / producer with Roxy Music, the producer, songwriter and producer of a bunch of David Bowie stuff, worked with Robert Fripp on many things, invented the term ambient music, blah, blah, blah. I did not recognise him from that photo initially. That is from 2015. So he's looking even older. So that's Brian Eno in the middle, point for that. And on the right, that is Australian novelist Kerry Greenwood, creator of Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries and a whole bunch of other stuff. Kerry Greenwood. I won't go into a thing about the Chinese production of that Miss S, which is a Chinese remake of the Miss Fisher stories, based on the Australian television series, which in turn is based on the books, but there's changes along the way. Let's just say it's very Chinese. It's Chinese melodrama. And if you treat it as Chinese melodrama rather than getting all sooky about how it's different from the books, you will enjoy it. But it does stretch out into some quite tedious melodramas. So just take that on board. Anyway, a point each for those names. Bryan Cranston. Round 4, old news, question 14. Where was the Prophet Muhammad born? The answer is Mecca. I reckon that was an easy one. Point for Mecca. Question 15. Which came first? It is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Point for that. The Sydney Harbour Bridge was opened in 1932. San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, 1937. 16, the northern part of Papua New Guinea was colonised by Germany. Germany, for a point. Beginning in 1884, it was in fact German New Guinea as the colony. After World War I, during World War I, Australian troops captured it all and occupied it throughout World War I. It all became a colony of Britain. After that, after World War II, it became a colony of Australia and only became an independent nation in 1975. Yes, when I was younger, Papua New Guinea was a colony of Australia. Point for Germany. Question 17, the Titanic. Where was it built? Belfast for the point, in Northern Ireland. Belfast for the point. And what year for the other point? 1911. Belfast and 1911. The company was Harland and Wolff, very prolific shipbuilder of the period. But no points for that. Just one for Belfast, one for 1911. Question 18, the picture question. Left to right, 1 point each. On the left, James Cook, Captain James Cook, though he was only a lieutenant when he explored the east coast of Australia. So a point for James Cook. In the middle, Marie Curie, the scientist, or Maria Sklodowska-Curie. So a point for Marie Curie, the Nobel Prize winner, discoverer of all sorts of radioactive things, and of course she died of radiation sickness and cancers later in her life. And on the right, Harold Holt, the Prime Minister of Australia in 1966 and 1967, who went missing while swimming at Cheviot Beach in Victoria. Harold Holt. So a point each for James Cook, Marie Curie, and Harold Holt. Now, question 19, the critter question. What is that? 1 point for pangolin. And of course, if you unravel a pangolin, it looks like this. And they've been in the news over the last 12 months because it was stupid, well, not stupid, but incorrect, wrong speculation that SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19 virus, was transmitted from pangolins into humans. Turns out not the case. Yes, as Alex Kidman reminded us, Marie Curie won 2 Nobel Prizes, which is pretty... Me and mine says that every ancient pick of a lady, they guess it's Marie Curie. That is... that's like in the geography questions, you always just say the answer is Chad, right? Or Burkina Faso, or something like that. Anyway, point for pangolin. And question 20, who am I? The answer to all that is Queen Elizabeth II. I will accept the Queen because we're in a Commonwealth country and she is our Queen, unless you're a Republican, but then she still is your Queen. You just... So Queen Elizabeth II, yes, she married a sailor. Prince Philip, or Philip as he was then, had served in the Royal Navy. She did work as a driver and mechanic for a period during World War II. And indeed, when her father died, she took over the family business. And they call it the firm, right, don't they? Still does. And she has travelled. So that is... Oh, I wrote a wrong thing down. Anyway, that's part 1. There are 37 points possible in this. Please add them up and tell us in the chat how you went. How many out of 37 did you get? Now, while you're adding up the scores, let's do the housekeeping. Let me just see how the possible thingy is going. Actually, while I'm doing the housekeeping, I do have a thing for you to watch, of course. You can watch The Octopus, which you saw at the beginning. I know that if you watched the last live stream on the 28th of January rather, you've seen this octopus, but there you go. I'm seeing numbers well into the 20s coming in, which is fantastic. I did think they were a little easier this time round. I tried to run them a bit easier. Who's the highest one there? Pete Lawler on 26, and that's even with fucking up questions. Alex Kidman on 26. Look, this is fabulous. Keep track of those scores. As I said, email me later with your scores and team names and things, and I'll start setting up. I've been trying to work out how to do a leaderboard where not everyone plays every week. So, you know, I don't want a leaderboard where if you play a lot, you just automatically score high because you happen to play a lot. I want it so that if someone comes in and only plays for like 2 weeks but still does well, they'll still kind of get a slot on the leaderboard. Maybe we need some sort of, I don't know, decay function so that fresh results are better than old results. And then I'll leave that to you. If someone's got a good algorithm for doing a leaderboard like that, do let me know. I'll also say thank you for those that have contributed to the quiz since the last episode and this one. So that's very much thank you to Brendan Ralph, who's on tonight. Hi, mate. Catherine Young, you there? Chris Scoble, Carletta Abinak, who's definitely on tonight somewhere. She's put in a couple of things. Katrina Zetti, long supporter of my terrible things online. Pauline Gambley again, very generous contribution. Thank you, Pauline. Pete Lawler, who I know is going through a lot of bullshit at the moment, but still managed to get something. Why is my voice going high there? I'll bring my voice down. And another person who's choosing to remain anonymous. Thank you so much. Stilgarian.com/tip is the place to go to support that. But look, now, rather, throw it into the possible campaign in the next 10 minutes. That'll close off. And I don't know. You'll figure it out. Anyway, I hope you're refreshing your drinks quite nicely. Let me just check that total. Again, did it say 35.60? Refresh. 35.70. Yeah, that's crawling up. 14 minutes left. I won't hassle you too much about that. Let's get on with the quiz and part 2, shall we? Let's go to part 2. Oh no, we will come to that in a minute. Oh no, I left all it. It doesn't matter. There are no spoilers there. But the thing is, we start part 2 as always with the platypus round, and here is the platypus. Well, a platypus, the one from San Diego Zoo again. Here are 4 questions set for you by the snarky platypus. Okay? Question 21. Question 21. What is the second tallest mountain on the Australian mainland? No, on the Australian continent, which includes Tasmania. But not Antarctica, not Norfolk Island, something like that. 21, what is the name of the second tallest mountain in Australia? Question, Ross Nye's asking, should we use tip or possible? At this stage, use /tip, stilgarian.com/tip. I mean, the possible's there and we'll get a number, but I'll have an algorithm for that as well. Algorithms for all the things. Question 22 is about Stanford University. In which Silicon Valley suburb will you find Stanford University? I mean, I assume it was a separate village or town at some point, but now it's that whole conurbation that we call Silicon Valley. Where in Silicon Valley is Stanford University? Interestingly, Stanford was set up in the 1800s specifically to be a university to develop technology entrepreneurs. Back in the 1800s, indeed, it was founded. Mr. Stanford, I forget his name, he was one of the people who had invested in the Transcontinental Railroad and, had thousands of Chinese workers killed along the way. I mean, he didn't kill them, they died in accidents while building the railway, but he made squillions out of building the railway and founded the university. I can't remember Stanford's first name. Anyway, where is it? Where is it? Question 23. What is the only planet in our solar system to rotate on its side? So most planets, listen to this, sun goes round, solar system go round, Earth goes round like that, and all but one of the planets has its axis of rotation roughly at a right angle to the solar plane, where all the planets go round. One of them doesn't. Which planet? And question 24 is a tennis question. The platypus is actually quite a bit of a fan of tennis, particularly women's tennis, and indeed, the question is about the 2019 Fed Cup. It's the women's national team tennis competition, so there are national teams playing. Who won it in 2019? Which country? Which country's team won the Fed Cup in 2019? It used to be called the Federation Cup, of course, until 1995. And then last year, 2020, it's been renamed the Billie Jean King Cup after a woman who used to play tennis. Anyway, it's still called the Fed Cup. Billie Jean. Who won it? Which country won it in 2019? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the platypus round. Wasn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely to have the platypus around? Watch that platypus again. Ross Nye suggesting that Mr. Stanford's first name was Arsehole Stanford. Certainly Stanford has produced a very large number of arseholes. Now it's time for the geography round. We're powering through this tonight. This is good. We're running on schedule. The geography round, question 25. Oh, look, I love this. Where's that? That magnificent tower, which country is it in? Point for the country and a bonus point if you can tell me which city it is in that country. So a point for the name of the country, a point for the name of the city. Question 26. Which river forms much of the border between Laos and Thailand and eventually drains into the South China Sea? I want the name of the river which forms a large part of the border between Laos and Thailand and which eventually drains into the South China Sea. Gavin Costello, I reckon you're going to go better than 0 out of 4 in this round. I just have that feeling. 26, question 26 is the river. Question 27, which city is further north? London in England or Moscow in Russia? Which of those cities is further north? Sorry, Ross, no Eurovision related question this time. And in any event, that doesn't come under geography, that comes under world affairs. You should know that. Which city is further north, London or Moscow? And that's question 27. Question 28, since Mars came up, we'll count Mars in geography. I just gave a spoiler. Fuck. The question is, what is the second tallest mountain in the solar system as currently discovered? What is the name of the second tallest mountain in the solar system? That's question 28. And question 29 is the map question. Now, I like the map question. I know that some of you really don't like the map question. I don't care. It's my quiz. I think we should all learn a bit of geography that's away from all the normal stuff that, you know, white people do. So this is Central America. Give you a hint, north is at the top of the map. The Pacific Ocean is on the left, the Atlantic Ocean is on the right, eventually. So, how the map question works. You can see that I've numbered all the countries there. I'm going to read you the names of 4 of the countries. A, B, C and D we'll call them. And then you just have to write down the number from the map that corresponds to each of those countries, right? Bren's saying he loves the map question. This is good. Rooty Hill is not the second tallest mountain in the solar system. Okay, have a look at the map. Here we go. 29A. Okay, so A is Colombia. Colombia. Which of those numbers is Colombia? B, Costa Rica. Okay. C is Panama. And D is Guatemala. Now, give you a little bit of time for this one because I think it's not so much that it's hard, but that it's easy to get confused, right, isn't it? So let's have a look at this. So, and I must admit, when I was kind of giving myself a sort of trial, you know, as I was going, I kind of started at one end and then trying to name them and figure it out that way. You may recognise one or other of them for some reason and then work it out from there. So A is Colombia, B is Costa Rica, C is Panama, and D is Guatemala. KA says, yeah, likes it too, just confusing at times, the layout of it. Maybe it would be better, like if this one, perhaps if there was a little more context, like if I zoomed out a little bit. I don't know. I could really fuck you up and use a terrain map or a picture from space and half of it cloudy. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? The little things we do to amuse ourselves. Okay, that's the map question. It's question 29. A is Colombia, B is Costa Rica, C is Panama, and D is Guatemala. And that is the last question in the geography round. The next round is the world affairs round, loosely described. There are 5 questions here. It's a bit of a weird one. Okay. I was in a mood when I wrote this. Several lists, okay? Question 30, there's 7 points up for grabs here. 7 countries have Antarctic territories. 7 countries have recognised claims to bits of Antarctica. 1 point for each country you can name. I reckon there's at least 2 of them that are absolute giveaways. Right? 7 countries with Antarctic territories. The other day, while you're thinking of that, something I learned the other day is in fact not true, which is very sad. Very sad. But I was told that pilots, when I think it was the Royal Air Force, were sort of down in some part of the Antarctic doing things. And they found that, you know how penguins come up in huge numbers. They found that the penguins would all watch the aircraft flying past because, you know, what are these aircraft things? They make a noise, they're big, they're in the sky. So the penguins watched them, and it'd be like at a tennis match, you know, all of these penguins going. As the planes went past, right? Planes go that way. And a bit later, the plane turns around and back. And then they took the plane out into the ocean and come the penguins. The penguins follow it again and go, well, and suddenly you just have 1,000 penguins falling over backwards. Not true. Apparently not true. Made up story. Question 30. What are the 7 countries that have a claim on Antarctica? 1 point each. Question 31, still with Antarctica. Which is bigger, Antarctica or Australia, in land area? Which continent is bigger, Australia or Antarctica? Question 32, this is, there have been protests in Spain this week in many of Spain's major cities. And in the last day or two, they've descended into violence. There have been violent protests in Spain this week. What are they about? Now, obviously, a quick summary of what it's about will be just fine for this. You know, it doesn't have to be. They're objecting to Section 21B of the Defence Force Recruitment Act 1972 because they have to get their hair cut when they join the army. I mean, that's not it. But I don't need that level of detail. But what I do want to know is, broadly speaking, the protests this week in Spain, what are they about? That's question 32. Question 33, I'm afraid it's another list question. I didn't realise I'd put that many in. But there is a thing called the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or the Quad. And It consists of 4 nations, obviously, it being quadrilateral. 4 nations that discuss mutual national security issues. I just want to know what the 4 nations are, 1 point each. And I'll give you... See how you go. No. Look, I will give you a clue. Someone once called this Asian NATO. Oh, it's terrible. But there are 4 countries in the quadrilateral security dialogue, 1 point each. They're all quite significant countries. And question 34 is a picture question. Who's that? I mean, it'd be great if you got the name, but what his job is would be good. He's getting the COVID-19 vaccine there. And as you can see, he's left his shirt on. A number of European leaders, certainly, and Americans, seem to remove far more of their shirt than they needed to get a shot in the arm. I mean, there were European politicians like who'd completely removed their shirt to take like a needle in the arm. I don't know why. It's really quite weird. Anyway, question 34 is who is that? Thus ends the World Affairs round. And now we get into the penultimate round, 4 questions on random topics. Question 35. What is the name of that spacecraft? Bit of a geeky one, this. I will say it's a spacecraft from the 1960s. As you can see from the credit in the bottom right corner there, it's a NASA photograph, so there's an extremely good chance that this is an American spacecraft. I would like to know what its name is. There's also a song by the same title, as it happens. Question 35 is what is the name of that spacecraft? Question 36 is about acid, LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide. Acid. Who first synthesized acid? Who first made the chemical? What was that person's name? And for a bonus point, in what year did they do it? So who, I don't want to say invented, who created LSD and in what year did they create LSD? That is question 36. Question 37, I think it's another photo question. Yes, it is. Well, this is a bit unfortunate with the watermark over the head of that guy on the left. I should have taken that into account. 1 point each. Who are these 3 people? 3 completely random people. Who are they? There is a connection between them all. It's raining outside. I don't know whether you can hear that. You might just be able to hear it in the background. If not, it means good, my audio production works. Okay, that's question 37. Who are those 3 people? One of them is like piss easy, I think. Well, for white people. So, oh God, they're all 3 white men. I'm really sorry about that. The reason why is that I worked out the connection first and then ran them together, and I didn't think. We had... did we have enough women earlier? I don't know. I hope that makes up for it. Question 37. Who are those people? Question 38 is true or false. Germany has its Autobahn system, the freeways. This was one of Adolf Hitler's initiatives in the lead up to World War II. Is that true or false, that Adolf Hitler was the person who gave the go-ahead for the Autobahn? Adolf Hitler certainly did start up a lot of national infrastructure projects in that period. Did he do the Autobahn, the freeways? True or false? Question 39. I love this one. What city is this? Question 39 has been what city is this, I think in all of the episodes so far. Here is a city. Which city is it? There are a number of clues in that picture, I think, which give it away. So which city is that? And question 40 is another multiple choice. And I want you to tell me which of these three things is a Hoogkamp. 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 A Hoogkamp. I'll let you write that down again. Hoogkamp. Right? Is it A, the Afrikaans word for high camp, applied most specifically to drag queens and popularised by the Johannesburg-based drag queen Frida Slaves? Fabulous drag name that, Frida Slaves. So is a Hoogkamp the Afrikaans word for high camp? Is it B, a suburb in the northwestern parts of the Dutch city of Arnhem, where traces of earlier settlements have been found dating back to 1500 BCE? Is that Hoogkamp? Or is it C, is a Hoogkamp a genus of hookworms? Hookworms are these intestinal blood-feeding parasitic roundworms. And this genus, the Hoogkamp, includes the species Hoogkamp duicorpi, Hoogkamp negro, and Hoogkamp robustus, which were all first identified in the 1950s by the Flemish zoologist Wim de Smet, or Wim de Smet. So, is a Hoogkamp, A, the Afrikaans word for high camp, drag queens, B, a suburb of the Dutch city of Arnhem, or C, a genus of hookworms identified by Flemish zoologist Wim de Smet? That is question 40, and I will tell you, question 40 from now on is going to be 3 points worth. That's 3 or 0 for question 40. Yes, isn't Frida Slaves a fantastic drag name? It's just brilliant. Okay, Hoogkamp. Is it A, Afrikaans word, B, in the city of Arnhem, or C, parasitic roundworms? That, gentle viewer, is the end of part 2. So, let's go through them. And while we're going through the platypus round, why don't we very quickly put the platypus back on for you to watch. So, question 21. Second tallest mountain on the Australian continent, it is Mount Townsend. Townsend. Mount Townsend. It's in the Snowy Mountains and it's 2,209 metres tall. Mount Kosciuszko, or Mount Kosciuszko, depending on how much of a wanker you are, is 2,228 metres tall, just 19 metres higher. So, point for Mount Townsend. 22, Stanford University is in Palo Alto. Palo Alto for the point. Question 23, the planet that rotates on its side is Uranus or Uranus. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Uranus rotates on its side. Sit on it and spin. And question 24, the 2019 Fed Cup was run by France. That is a point for France. And that is the platypus round. Question 25, where is this lovely tower? It is in Kazakhstan. Good night, Gavin Costello. Yes, you will have to get the answers later. You're probably gone. That is question 25. That is Kazakhstan for the point. And a point if you knew the name of the city. It is in fact the capital city of Kazakhstan, which is Nur Sultan, which means radiant sultan. So it's a point for Nur Sultan. That's only been the name of the capital city since 2019 though. Before that, and you can have half a point for this, the city was called Astana. And Astana is the Kazakh word that just means capital city. You can see why they chose to change it and naming it after Nur Sultan, which was the previous sultan, the radiant sultan. The tower, by the way, is called Bayterek, which means tall poplar, as in the type of tree. Anyway, so it's a point for Kazakhstan and a point for Nur Sultan, or half a point for Astana. Question 26, the river Lao-Tai border in South China Sea. It's the Mekong. Of course it's the Mekong. Should have got that one, people. Question 27, which is further north, London or Moscow? It is London. No, it's not. It's Moscow. But not by a lot. Moscow is 55, nearly 56 degrees north. London is 51.5 degrees north. Those few degrees, only a few degrees, but it's, because Britain is warmed by that current, the Atlantic, whatever that ocean current is called, slightly warmed anyway, whereas Moscow, long way inland, gets the Arctic thing down. So Moscow for the point. Question 28, the tallest mountain in the solar system, the second tallest mountain is Olympus Mons on Mars. Mount Olympus will do, but Olympus Mons, it's more than 21 kilometres high. It is more than twice the height of Mount Everest. So Olympus Mons on Mars, a lot of people were thinking that's probably, wait, isn't that the tallest? No, more recently, there is a mountain on the asteroid Vesta. The mountain is called Rhea Silvia, and that's even taller, which is pretty weird. But Olympus Mons is the answer. The other thing is Olympus Mons, have a look at this. Olympus Mons is incredibly wide. Look at that. That is, the orange part is the kind of volcanic plain. You can see the craters, the volcanic craters at the top marked in red. There's several of them. And then the hot volcanic cone-shaped mountain spreads out like that on Mars. So if France was on Mars, you know what I mean. Point for Olympus Mons or Mount Olympus. Question 29. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm an idiot. There's the map. Okay. You ready? A, Colombia. That is number 9. Point for that. A, Colombia, number 9. B, Costa Rica is number 7. B, Costa Rica, number 7. C, Panama is number 8. C, Panama is number 8. And a way to remember that is the Panama Canal goes across that bit tilted the other way. So in fact, to go from the Atlantic Ocean into the Pacific Ocean on the Panama Canal, you actually travel eastwards. That's how I remembered this. I knew that was Panama. Okay, that was C. And D, Guatemala, is number 2. D, Guatemala, number 2. Now, to run through all of them, just to satisfy your curiosity, I'll run through. Number 1 at the top there is Mexico. Number 2, as I said, is Guatemala. Number 3 is Belize. Number 4 is El Salvador. Number 5 is Honduras. Number 6 is Nicaragua. Number 7, as I said, is Costa Rica. Number 8, Panama. And number 9, Colombia. There were 4 points possible there. Hope you did well. There's some suggestions that if France was on Mars, yes. Okay, that's the geography round. World Affairs round. 7 countries have Antarctic territories. There's 7 points up for grabs here. I will read them in alphabetical order. A point for each of one of these you had. Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and the UK, the United Kingdom. I'll read those again, 1 point each. Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, which actually has 2 bits, and the UK. 1 point each. Question 31, which is bigger, Australia or Antarctica? The answer is Antarctica, and by a lot. Antarctica is nearly twice the size of Australia. Australia is 7 million or 7.7 million square kilometres. Antarctica is over 14 million square kilometres. A point for Antarctica. 32. The protests in Spain are in support of Catalan rapper Pablo Hasél, who was thrown in jail because his tweets insulted police and the Spanish monarchy. So I will say they're supporting a rapper, they're complaining about someone who was put in jail, they're complaining about being jailed for tweets, lèse-majesté laws, which I didn't even know Spain had one. Insulting the police is a crime in Spain. Any of those things, I mean, I think that's one of those where you either knew it or you didn't, right? A point if you knew it, no points if you didn't. Question 33. The Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or the Quad, there's 4 of them, obviously. They are in alphabetical order: Australia, India, Japan, and the United States. Australia, India, Japan, United States, 1 point each. And the reason some arsehat called it Asian NATO is just like NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation, was formed to counter communist Soviet Union. This is put together to counter the rise of China. Point each for them. And question 34, who is this? This is Max Verstappen, or Max Verstappen. He is the finance minister of Croatia. He's not particularly important in world affairs. I just thought some of you might like to look at that photograph for a little while. He's a bit fit, isn't he? Anyway, that is Max Verstappen, the finance minister of Croatia. Point for that. Half a point for just some hot Euro boy. He's actually not bad. I think he's about 40, but he's doing all right. 35. What is the name of this spacecraft? It is Telstar. T-E-L-S-T-A-R. That is Telstar. Launched in the 1960s. The reason it's important, it is the first television transmission satellite. TEL for television, star for star, it's like in space. Telstar, there was also, of course, an instrumental music track called Telstar, and in Australia, a type of car called the Telstar. Both named after the spacecraft. How's that? Point for Telstar. Question 36, who first synthesised LSD? A point for Albert Hofmann. I'll count Hoffman, you don't need to know the Albert bit. Half a point if you got a near miss on that, you know what I mean? And the bonus point, what year? The point is for 1938. 1938, yes, because I know that some of you will go, wait, it was 1943. No, 1943, that's when Hoffman first realised it might have hallucinogenic properties and tried some. So the first LSD trip was in 1943, and I'll give you half a point for that. But the chemical itself was created in 1938. And for those of you who don't know the story, Albert Hofmann thought that, wait, this is kind of an ergo-alkaloid. It's going to be sort of hallucinogenic, right? Let's see if it is. And he gave himself 250 micrograms on it because he was thinking that's kind of just enough to notice the effects based on other ergo-alkaloids. Except, as he soon discovered, for LSD, 250 milligrams is what we doctors call a fuck ton. That is kind of like 5 to 10 trips that people would have had in the 1960s all at once. And he's riding his bicycle on the way home when it kicked in, and world's weirdest bicycle ride. And he did that, I think it was April 29th. Anyway, the day in question is still celebrated as Bicycle Day by people who are aficionados of LSD, apparently. It's a thing I found out on Twitter. So a point for Albert Hofmann, a point for 1938. Question 37 was the picture question. Who are these people? I'll go right to left this time. No, Stuart Hargraves, they are micrograms, not milligrams. I may have misspoken, but 250 micrograms. Okay, from right to left, that is Steve Waugh for a point, the Australian cricketer. In the middle, Steve Coogan, the British actor. And on the left, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the guitarist. So the connection is they're all Steves or Stevies. So from right to left, Steve Waugh, Steve Coogan, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, 1 point each. Question 38, true or false? Germany's autobahns were an initiative pushed or set up by Adolf Hitler. That is false. It's often thought to be. There's this idea that the autobahns were created, to support the growing German army. And certainly after World War I, there was this sense that Germany needed a better road system, and the autobahns are what resulted. But the first autobahn was in 1931, and Hitler didn't become Chancellor until 1933. So that is false, about the same time, but nothing particular to do with Hitler. Question 39, what is Hitler? What city is this? What is Hitler? No, Ross, no. Well, a quarter of a point for Alan Partridge. That's the character played by Steve Coogan in many things. A quarter of a point for Alan Partridge. But the actor name is Steve Coogan. Okay, what city is this? This is Yangon in Myanmar. Yangon used to be called Rangoon back in the day. And the clues in this, one, the coup from last week is literally happening in the background. And this is a still from a video that really got quite widespread coverage. This woman was shooting her aerobics video, and she was so focused on doing her aerobics video, she literally did not notice the military convoy going through the barrier and on the way to the palace or the centre of government or whatever in the background. Yes, she completely failed to see the military coup in progress. So a point for the city of Yangon. And question 40, what is a Hoog camp? The answer is B, a suburb in the Dutch city of Arnhem in the northwestern parts, where traces of early settlements have been found dating back to 1500 BCE. In terms of the others, I don't know what the Afrikaans word. It might even mean high camp, Hoog camp, high place, whatever. It is certainly not a word used to describe drag queens. There is a drag queen called Frida Slaves, but she's American. B was the right answer. And C, Hoog camp, the hookworms, no. Although Wim de Smet is indeed a Flemish zoologist who was active in the 1950s and years either side, but no, that is all bullshit. So 3 points if you chose B, 0 points if you chose any of the other two. Man in Black, half a point for the capital of Myanmar, quarter of a point for the capital of Myanmar there. I think we really do need the city. Why that was in the news a lot. So that is part 2. Part 2 has a possible 38 points, which means added to the possible 37 points for part 1. That's a possible 75 points in all. Bren has come up with a point that the capital of Myanmar was moved to Naypyidaw. Ooh. Ooh. Is that photo from Myanmar and Naypyidaw? Look, I'll give a point for either. I think I have to because that may have been a fault my end. Chrissy M saying that Hoodcamp does in fact mean high camp in Afrikaans. Okay, I have said, I have made my rulings. Okay, Dana Sebra. Okay, the aerobics was in the other city. Look, all right, a point obviously for the correct answer there of Naypyidaw. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. But yeah, I'll go with a point for Yangon, even though it's the wrong answer, because a lot of you would have thought it was the right answer, as I did. And that's not, look, anyway, throw your total scores into the thing. If you want to keep playing this and be part of an online community thing that we'll do, there we go. Send me an email, and that's only because I haven't set up like all the proper things so that you can report scores and whatever. We will set up some sort of community thing so that you can keep doing this and stay in touch with each other. Okay, that would be lovely. There's that. Go to stilgherrian.com/tip to chuck dollars into the thing if you enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, if you'd gone to a pub quiz, you would have spent a few bucks on drinks. You've been drinking at home, so the drinks are cheaper. So, you know, buy a drink, whatever. I don't expect a lot of money for that, but just throw a few dollars in. That would be lovely. You don't have to. You can tell people about this instead, and then they might throw money in. That would be lovely. I'm seeing some good scores coming in here. 42 for both rounds for Chrissy M. 32 1/4 for Oberon's Ghost, 36.25 for Ms. Cat, 33.5 for Me and Mine, 36 for Alex Kidman. These are all pretty good. 42.5 for Shane O'Neill. That is fabulous. 45 for PG. Wow. If you got more than 45, chuck that in. Chuck your number in again, because that is pretty special. 45 for that. There were some questions. Now, look, that brings us to the end of the thing. I've put the email address up. I've told you how to throw in a tip. The next episode will be 4 weeks exactly from today on the 18th of March, Thursday the 18th of March at 8 p.m. AEDT. It's the third Thursday of the month, but subscribe to the YouTube channel and you will be notified. And you can set a reminder when I put all that online and things like that. Thank you for playing. Now, to play us out, I did mention LSD. What I have here for you is some of the footage. This is a documentary. The US Army, US Department of Defense, gave LSD to soldiers to see what would happen. And I found one of the videos of that. So we'll look at that on the way out, I think. Shall we? Yes, let's do the play out video. See you in 4 weeks' time, or if I get really keen, I may throw in a sooner episode, but perhaps not. And you'll find out about the podcasts. Until then, I'm Stilgherrian. Wash your hands.
The 8 p.m. quiz is a Skank Media production. Sorry.